What's popular, YouTube? Another day, another demo. And today is going to be a demo where I put myself on the line, okay? This is one where it's a game I casted today, but it's a game where I felt like the top fragger in one half didn't play well and yet had 111 ADR, 1.43 rating, 1610 on the half, and in a half where they made a comeback. From what I remember, this wasn't that great. And the player that I'm talking about and the game that I'm talking about is, this was yesterday, was with Poizon, okay? In my opinion, when I watched this game, it was a 2-0 of big over complexity. Poizon did not look like himself, okay? Poizon from the chicken wing story that's ice cold, that can't be shaken, that doesn't miss. I didn't see that Poizon yesterday. And the stats would tell you otherwise. He was literally top of the board, even though it was a loss in terms of, just barely, almost pulling that 1.0 rating. And especially on Nuke in the very, very close game, looked like he was doing a ton of legwork, top fragging. But I didn't really see that when I was watching. What I saw was a lot of hesitation, some odd shots that were missed, some slight misplays that maybe I'll get to see on the CT side. And when I was watching the game, I can't remember if most of the rounds that I watched were on the T side where he didn't play that well, but we're going to risk it and see if it was on the CT side where that was the case. And I think the goal of this video is to kind of challenge my memory, okay, and try to put myself in the position of someone who just watches the game, because whenever you watch a game, it can really form an idea of what you think of a player, whether it's good or bad. We all have that player that we've watched one demo of, or we watched one game, one round that they had, and it made us believe they were the best player of all time. Or we watched one round where they messed something up on a bad day, and now we just can't get it out of our mind. This player's dog shit, right? That's we all have that player, for better or worse. And I think it's obviously important to make sure to go back and challenge your memory and like take a second look and confirm when you watch the demo and stuff like that. But in reality, most people are just watching for fun, and that's not realistic. But of course, on this channel and with me, who actually has to do this as a job, it makes sense for me to go back and challenge this stuff sometimes. So why don't we go ahead and see it? Did Poizon really have a strong performance here with 111 ADR, or was this actually a game where maybe I was onto something? It didn't really look like he was himself. Maybe he got a lot of eco kills here. Let's see if that was the case. I'm actually kind of curious. I'm pretty nervous to do this one. I have no idea what I'm going to see, and I can't remember most of the rounds, to be honest. So I'm not exactly sure if we're going to see that this is the case. Now it's 10-5, right? Of course, as we get into the second half, Poizon with the dualies up top. Maybe we start with a strong round here. These dualies are absolutely glowing. The rush dualies drop the Poizon to the hard carry, and there Poizon just gets ass blasted on the top of the hut. I want to, I think, turn on X-ray here. So I remember, and I'm going to talk about what I remember when I was casting. And the thing I remember there was that he looked a little bit lost. Like I was looking at that and I was like, whoa, he just didn't seem very aware of that at all. I think in that situation, he had an out in that he had a teammate who died in mini. So he was supposed to be watching hut, not Squeaky. And so him kind of walking over doesn't look as bad from his perspective, of course, as things normally are when you're watching the demo. They never look as bad when you watch the demo. When you watch it live, you're like, man, how'd this guy get a contract, right? How did this guy put the Simpsons contract gift in a tweet and then end up getting paid $20,000 to $30,000 a month to play CS when he just did that? But you watch the demo and you go, oh, I see exactly what he was thinking. So, okay. What I want to bring this down to is important rounds. So, here's one where I was like, Poizon, one of the best scouters in the game, one of the best CT Nuke players for my money on and up, and he was missing some of his scout shots here. So I was like, that wasn't actually could have been a couple of easy kills. I mean, some of those shots were actually not that difficult, at least when we're talking about for Poizon. And some of this stuff is going to come down to aim, and some of it isn't. But I just like to, bring attention to the jury that he missed a couple of easy shots, okay? We got this rotation downstairs, and here we get 1 kill. Searson trades him through the wall because Searson was absolutely on fire, and that was a nut shot by him. I don't think Searson had even seen him at all, so that was a pretty ridiculous scout shot. And poizon, he's still on a rifle, so we don't have it on an op yet. And in this position, they've got this interesting setup, which is super heavy on upper, and they're super expectant, actually, of a fast upper hit, which now watching this back is kind of interesting because I didn't see this setup originally. I think we were looking at this from Big's perspective. And now we've got a situation where, again, they're not opping, but normally poizon would be the guy responsible for watching outside. So we've got him suppressing fire off of this corner. He's here to dodge flashes. He hears some footsteps. He takes a peek and actually, completely destroys 2 players outside me. That was pretty absurd. Fantastic shot by Xantares at the end of it, but all right. That looked very nice from poizon. Extremely nice. I won't lie. That was some great Galil work. Okay, so I might be really off base here because that was important round, important kills. And even some style with it. It wasn't even the spray trap. It was like the double burst. No one even turned around before he got those kills. So far, so good. He's a part of this comeback. It's 11-10. He's definitely playing well. He's hitting shots. Really no questions, to be honest. Couldn't have got back to this point without him. A couple of scout shots got missed early on, but the rounds are won. Okay, there he just got, annihilated by tabseN, trying to hold out wide. I actually can't blame him for that one. I think Big Clan ended up winning that round. That might have been a situation where I was like, how did poizon lose like that? But tabseN hit the nicest shot of all time. That's in contention for the nicest shot of all time in the history of CSGO, I think, with that shot. That was actually an unbelievable shot. So I don't want to hold that against poizon at all. And now poizon in this position, he lets one go off to the side. And, okay, I mean, this is a great game by poizon. I'm eating my words totally. I mean, what can you say about that? Oh, the one-on-one. Okay, so here he runs downstairs. And, okay, he drops a nade. And this is where I felt like he was a bit indecisive, to be honest. So he comes down, he lets tabseN go. He opens the squeak door. And, of course, tabseN can be anywhere here. But now he's thinking that he's potentially back decon. And tabseN played above the vent. And this is hard to see from tabseN's POV exactly. Or, sorry, from poizon's POV exactly. Okay, this is a round where I thought in the cast I was like, man, poizon looks a little bit lost here. But now looking at it back, I'm not sure if I would have necessarily played the round out differently. But what I want to do in this round is actually go and look at the POV of tabseN and see if I could remember the same thoughts as I did when I was casting. Because when I looked at it from tabseN's perspective, it looked quite clear as to what he should do. What poizon should do in response to this. So let's see if that's the case. So tabseN grabs the bomb. And then here, of course, the vent drop is imminent. And poizon knows the vent drop is coming. And I think caster goes like this. And I think it's at this position where you're like, okay, you need to run downstairs because he's on default. And then poizon attempts to go for the walking play. And I'm looking tabseN in this position. And I think I'm seeing, okay, poizon could have been a decon here and killed him. And also poizon, even in this moment, could have gotten the kill. And then he comes around this side, and then he looks back at decon on the flank. And I was like, oh, he's second-guessing himself. And, of course, I told the poizon chicken wing story to talk about how ice-cold this guy was, right? Like, that he doesn't ever second-guess himself. That he's cold as ice. But in this clutch, I was like, man, he's not cold as ice right here. He's kind of moving a little bit. He's kind of going bumper cars from one position to the other, doubting himself, and loses track of tabseN, who, from my perspective at that point, didn't play that clutch very convincingly at all either. All right, so he's trying to catch the lurk out of Squeaky. There is one here, but I don't think he sees for sure. And now they come towards ramp, and he swings into this potentially. No, okay. Gets out of dodge, rush out of dodge. Excuse me, not dodge. Rush dies upper, and he rotates in. This was another round actually where I kind of felt like he was in the position almost too late. But now I look at that and I see how close they were actually going to hit ramp in that spot. So he dies only getting one kill here on a important round, but he overstacked and committed to upper and left config at ramp and made the right call here to get into this position. So actually played this situation quite well. Complexity ended up even winning the round off of that. And he's doing a great job. I mean, utility-wise, he doesn't have to clear out this angle now, and he's just making sure that he's zoning his opponent so his teammates know that he can be in that spot. That was just really well played by poizon as well. Gave him enough time to zone him, basically. That was super smart positionally. Wow. That was very good. That was a very good by poizon. Here we make good moves. Again, every time it looks like Big have went to go touch ramp, they've actually faked it and come back upstairs, especially if they don't get their first kill. That's been pretty common. And here's a position where they don't need anybody. They got Rush to save the day. And I think it's at this point where it felt like the game was actually pretty unlosable for Complexity. I thought they were doing quite well. And poizon even survives with the op on this round, maintaining his KD. Keeping the money tall here for Complexity. And yeah, I mean, this demo has turned into another excuse to watch a good CT side Nuke player and learn more things. How to play smartly 101. Maybe I need an unlucky or bad for picking the game. Actually, maybe I need unlucky or bad for picking the game. That's something new. See, look, he's horrible. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so here's a position. We're 5v5, and we've got Blame F going secret control. And so, yeah, and they got config op ramp, which it's hard to say. Does this give you the keys to be going for a peek outside? The only other thing as well was there was no waiting for a flash here. Okay, and this ends up, of course, being around that Big end up winning, but there was no flash here. There was also no other presence. There was no fake ramp rush, for example, or whatever. Everyone's sitting back holding in a default. So they could be anywhere. So we don't know where Searson is. We don't outside is the last place what we've checked, so they're probably there. So this also feeds into this idea that maybe he didn't need to be here. And, you know, Blame F coming late is another thing, and he maybe thought he could beat a timing, but yeah. So here's a situation where sometimes I'm critical of oppers when they Brokey was doing this a lot today, where they do get a position like this, and then they don't recognize when they actually have cut off so much. Like, for example, right now, no one can cross secret. He has tight on red. Searson opt him from a similar position that he's in, like from last round, but he could also appear over here. So he has the win on Searson. He has the info front mini. He has his big garage is clean and no one can cross secret. That's just from this. And you can't do this with a rifle. So when sometimes I see Brokey or some other oppers, and even poizon, I guess, in the first half more, where he kind of second guessed his position sometimes, where I felt like he had a good spot, but it didn't feel like he recognized it. And of course, this stuff is harder to see from the outside as well. It's harder to see from the inside, I guess I should say. So yeah. So here he's sitting pretty, and I mean I don't know what happens this round, but I'm just saying this is what I'm trying to say right now. So like this information, as boring as this job is providing immense value to the team for as long as it's up. Now the smokes come down on the wall, and this is why you as a T throw the smokes whether you use them or not. And here's a position where they end up, they come through mini, and poizon commits to the right side. Actually, this is big. So this is actually another important play that CT side oppers need to make once in a while, and that's actually just dropping out of heaven into the back of the site. And once you do this, the only thing you can do after that is go through hut, for example, to retake lobby, or just stay there the whole round. But you're very unlikely to rotate down vent with an op, for example, or you're not going to be going back to ramp anytime soon if you do this rotation, and you're not even a good spot to watch heaven. So, but why do you do this then? Because if you sit in heaven, then you're going to be targeted. You're going to get, you're in a pre-fireable position, like how Tabson killed Poizon in the past. You're going to be the focus of grenades. You're going to eat a lot of the skylight flashes or whatever, and you don't have a position to multi-frag, and your shot at angle is very awkward. So sometimes you have, I mean, a good opper knows when to commit. Watch when Simple drops onto the site. Watch when Poizon drops onto the site. Sometimes this can be because you're done with outside or because they took outside control specifically. Sometimes it's because you just want this deep angle in hut, or your teammates are going to take hut control like we just saw. And sometimes just for the sake of being able to multi-frag, when in heaven you wouldn't be able to do that. So here you can see this is kind of a very, a tenuous rotation to have to look down the vent. And this is not Poizon's fault that they actually dropped, but it's something that the T's can do if they're nice and agile, and they were able to do it. And maybe I actually saw this as kind of a mistake at the time that he, committed upper. But in reality, they could have still gone upper and whatever. And the last time he tried to fight them coming out of Squeaky, Tabson killed him over top of the vent. So certainly not his role at that point to stop people from dropping vent. It's going to happen sometimes, but I think they capitalized on him coming into the site to go down, noticing no one was up there in heaven. There's been kind of 3 big rounds where I actually don't think that's his Poizon's necessarily fault. Maybe one clearer mistake with the peak on Searson, but a couple of rounds where I feel like he could have been the difference maker if he had stayed in a certain spot, but certainly can't be held responsible for necessarily what was, the moves that he made. They could be looked at as very reasonable, not nearly as bad as I had thought when I was watching the game live. I have no idea what the title of the video actually, now that I think about this. And there's some more impact, but then he ends up dying. And this is, again, just feeding into the narrative that, okay, things were not as good as they seemed. And then they end up losing the game. And this one comes close, but Xanteris blasts him away, and the game is over. And I don't know if everyone saw the same thing I did, in the sense that, okay, this is why it looked like that for me. But yeah, that's why when I watched the game, there was a few rounds there. I think that, and especially when I'm not controlling the camera and seeing everything, that it looked to me like, oh, there was a few mistakes being made, or like, oh, he could have had way more impact to actually win the game, despite the kills that he got. There was he didn't have a good first half, so that also fed into it, I think, where I was already on that road. Like, okay, he's not playing well, especially compared to Searson, who I thought was better. And I think they played Dust 2 as well. Yeah, Dust 2, he just wasn't the better offer than Searson overall. I mean, just Searson was just really good. But I thought this one, I wanted to look at this one because I was like, did he deserve that rating? Because overall, but yeah, he's had some shaky games. I don't think that was technically one of them. That was actually pretty strong, I think. Okay, I think that's it for the day. I woke up at like 5:30 this morning, so I've been up for a while. I'm not working tomorrow, so I'll probably be able to play play some ancient games and stuff like that. But for now, I'm out. I might go to the gym actually right now since it's close to me.